first aid kits, medicine cabinets, and learning to ride a bike. What do these three things have in common? Band-Aids. Cuts, scrapes, and scratches happen almost all the time, whether it's riding a bike, cooking in the kitchen, or even reading a book. Paper cuts are the worst. Band-Aids are always there. Stick with me on this as we first rip off through the history of Band-Aids, then cut to the clever marketing of Band-Aids, and finally examine Band-Aids today and look at their future. First, before we rip off through the history of Band-Aids, let me ask you, have you ever wondered why we have Band-Aids or where we'd be without them? Think about it. This simple invention has been in all of our lives for so long. Get a paper cut? Put a Band-Aid on it. Accidentally burn yourself while cooking? Band-Aids to the rescue. Have kids? Need Band-Aids. But before 1920, these sticky bandages didn't exist. Luckily, a young housewife who was accident-prone inadvertently led to the existence of Band-Aids. Earl Dixon, a cotton buyer for Johnson & Johnson, developed a Band-Aid while trying to make a convenient, easy-to-apply bandage for his wife, Josephine, who's prone to many minor cuts and burns in the family kitchen. You see, in the old days, if you got a cut or a scrape, you would have to use makeshift gauze and adhesive tape. This process was hard and time-consuming, and you couldn't even do it yourself. Somebody would have to do it for you, and forget about it if it got wet. So Earl got the idea to use a long strip of adhesive tape with an inch-wide strip of gauze down the middle. All you would have to do, according to the Band-Aid's official website, was cut the length you needed, peel off the backing, and stick it on. It was that simple. It's because of Josephine and Earl that we have Band-Aids today. When Earl told his boss, James Johnson, about it, he loved the idea so much that the company Johnson & Johnson decided to sell them. I guess they were stuck on the idea. But when Band-Aids first came out, they weren't very popular. In fact, in the first year, they only sold $3,000 worth. No one yet knew the value of the Band-Aid. That is until the Boy Scouts got a hold of them. Johnson & Johnson decided to give out Band-Aids to Boy Scouts because, well, they always need to be prepared. And pretty soon, people stuck onto the idea of these wonderful little inventions. And in 1942, World War II had begun, and Band-Aids played a crucial role. Millions were sent out to medical units and hospitals. And did you know Band-Aids also went up to the stars? No, I don't mean Star Wars Band-Aids. I mean Band-Aids actually went up into space with Apollo 11 command module. According to the Kilmer House, an official website for Johnson & Johnson, it was in the first aid kit that they sent up with the astronauts, which means Neil Armstrong and his crew might have actually used Band-Aids in space. As you can see, Band-Aids have a fascinating history. Now, let's cut to the clever marketing of Band-Aids. So, we know why we buy Band-Aids, but do we really? I mean, we buy them for their amazing solutions to minor cuts and scrapes, but commercials actually have a big part to do with why we buy the things we do. Do you remember the Band-Aid commercials? The most memorable ones had the Band-Aid jingle. You know, I'm stuck on Band-Aid brand because Band-Aids stick on me. Did you know that Barry Manilow wrote the Band-Aid jingle? And many famous people have been in the commercials. People like Brooke Shields, John Travolta, and Chris Evert, just to name a few. Some of the most recent Band-Aid commercials have kids' favorite characters on them. It makes sense to advertise for kids because kids use Band-Aids the most. And today, Band-Aids even have kids' favorite characters on the Band-Aids. Things like Minions and Trolls and Transformers and Batman, Power Rangers, Dory, Disney princesses like Elena of Avalor, Cars 3, and much, much more. Band-Aids are marketed for everyone. Even teenagers can have fun with these emoji Band-Aids. Because Band-Aids are marketed for everyone can enjoy a Band-Aid. We buy Band-Aids not only for their practical use, but for their designs too. After all, in the words of Taylor Swift, Band-Aids don't fix bullet holes, but they can sure stick a smile on your face. Today, Band-Aids are still sticking with us, but they've also evolved. The Smithsonian Museum has reported of a Band-Aid that can monitor and deliver drugs right to a wound. It's a huge medical advancement. It'll be beneficial to everyone really soon. There's another one that was designed by a teenager that can monitor and deliver readings to doctors and nurses about the moisture of the bandage because for burn victims, if you don't change it often or not often enough, it gets a serious infection. But this fixes that. There's another Band-Aid that stops bleeding instantly. Maybe one day in the future, we can have a Band-Aid tape dispenser, or color me Band-Aids, scratch and sniff Band-Aids. Wait, what about a Band-Aid that has your selfies on them? We could call them selfie sticks. Guess these jokes aren't sticking with you guys, but thanks for sticking with me anyway, as we first ripped off through the history of Band-Aids, then cut to the clever marketing of Band-Aids, and finally examined Band-Aids today and looked up their future. I hope you guys stick with Band-Aids just as much as they stick with you. Thank you.